On the lush and thickly forested planet of Audavon 12, the Empire has built a base dedicated to the construction of AT-AT walkers. The native Atavi are few, but they still fight to remove the Imperial presence from their homeworld. Attacks by the Atavi have grown enough to disrupt work. Now, Emperor Palpatine has sent Darth Vader to keep the workers moving. Lord Vader, you can't keep taking these unnecessary risks, an Imperial general says to Vader as he gazes around at the lifeless bodies of the Atavi who perished by Vader's blade. Vader assures the general that the natives pose no threat to him whatsoever. As the two walk through the Imperial outpost designated Tremor Base, the general continues. No matter how many of them we kill, they just keep throwing themselves against the walls. It's making the men nervous. I just hope your scouts can find and kill their leaders. Maybe they'll give up after that. The walkers are your only concern, Vader says. See that they are completed on schedule. Later, Vader bows down to a hologram of his master Darth Sidious. I've lost contact with a squad searching for the Atavi's leader. You were sent to hasten construction of the walkers, Sidious insists, not pursue the natives. Both seem a poor use of my training, Vader counters. You forget your place, Lord Vader. Your obsession with the Jedi has clouded your judgment. Vader is adamant to Sidious that he can sense a very powerful presence on the planet, but Sidious shows no interest. You will remain at Tremor Base until the walkers are complete. If you defy my orders again, you may never leave. Sometime later, Vader, along with an officer and a group of clones, stand outside of the base looking off into the distance. The perimeter sensors picked up movement just after daybreak, the officer says. There. Vader points to something making its way towards them. Moments later, an injured clone trooper is on his knees in front of the group. Lord Vader, the enemy, they have a Jedi. For a moment, there is silence until the officer breaks it. Lord Vader, we need to get back inside. Double the number of snipers on the wall. The Sith Lord simply ignores this. Activate and release my probe droid. Tremor Base is well defended and you are in no danger. Unless you fail to complete the walkers by the time I return. In the middle of the forest, 6 men sit in the darkness with 2 small lights, the only thing illuminating the area. We should be on the move before first light, one of them, named Dendro, says. Yes, another agrees. We'll creep to the river. A few more nights at most. Then, if we haven't been run down yet, we double back towards Mount Dejandi. He'll catch up to us eventually, Dendro interjects. Yes, I think tonight. Suddenly, the bright red light of a lightsaber pierces the darkness along with the light from the probe droid, and in no time, Vader begins cutting down the men until the one known as Dendro ignites a saber of his own, this one blue in color. You will not defeat me, Vader insists. By surviving this long, I already have. Lightsabers clash, but Vader is simply too powerful. He rids Dendro of his weapon and lifts him into the air by his throat. Now to see who you are. Vader gazes into the eyes of a young man once his hood has been removed. A Padawan, Vader stares. Where is your master? En route to a starship. Once he escapes Audavon, you'll never find him. Then you will not delay me any longer. Vader, now possessing his weapon along with Dendro's, stalks in. Vader comes to learn that if the Jedi has a starship, then it must be on the summit of Mount Dejandi. So that's where he starts. That is, until he is attacked by a group of Atavi natives, one of which fires a missile-like launcher towards Vader, but instead of a missile, a projectile that, thanks to the probe droid, is identified as a standard sound emitter, a small glowing ball that begins to emit green lightning-like waves. The sound emitter is indeed emitting a call. From the nearby waters, a massive, terrifying beast emerges and attacks the Sith, its growls nearly deafening. Vader attempts to fight the creature off, but finds himself held tightly in the grip of the monster. Stop! He cries out before holding out his black-gloved, cybernetic hand towards the being. You will release me. Moments later, the hulking creature does just that. You do not want to kill me, any more than I want to kill you. The sun begins to rise. On top of the summit of Mount Dejandi, an old man with flowing gray hair sits cross-legged, meditating, until his peace is interrupted. Vader, riding on top of the beast he had just tamed, confronts the old Jedi. I didn't expect you to find me so quickly, the Jedi begins the conversation. I knew you'd realize lightsabers are useless against the Sugati. Referring, of course, to the creature Vader has now come off of. And find the species' only real weakness. They are just smart enough to fall victim to the Jedi mind trick. The old man now rises to his feet. Of course, you are no Jedi, are you? Where is your starship? Vader questions. There never was a starship. The Jedi replies wryly. But you should be more concerned that your ride is leaving without you. Vader turns to see the Sugati trailing off and away from the summit. Perhaps chasing sonic waves again, the old man finishes. He ignites his green saber and the duel begins. Weapons clash and moments later, Vader slices the hilt of the green lightsaber in half. Fortunately, the man begins as he lies on the ground, I've kept a second blade. He pulls a metal sword from its sheath and knocks Vader's own saber from his hand. However, before he can go in for the kill, the Jedi feels his stomach burning. Vader, now inches away from the man's own face, simply replies, "So have I." As he then removes the blue lightsaber he took from the Jedi Padawan earlier that morning from his opponent's abdomen. You came up here with no hope of escape, Vader observes. Why? The old Jedi simply smiles. Go back to where you belong and all will be clear. Vader winds the lightsaber back, ready to strike, and then his opponent is gone. Vader arrives back to Trimmer Base, and when he does, he can only gaze around helplessly. The AT-ATs have been completely destroyed, all of them wrecked. Dust and broken parts surround the Sith, but on the ground, Vader notices something small and glowing. The sound emitter. He picks it up in his hand and simply stares down at it. Vader was so distracted he barely noticed Sidious arrive at the base accompanied by 2 of his royal red guards. Master, Vader finally says quietly. Without lingering, Sidious turns his back on his apprentice and begins the short walk back to his ship before turning to Vader for one final message. Meditate on your failure here. Then he is gone, leaving Vader alone, surrounded by the massive destroyed walkers. As he watches Sidious's ship fly through the sky, Vader still clutches the glowing sound emitter in his hand. Thank you all for watching this video. I of course hope you enjoyed it, and may the Force be with you.